Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Band from Ringside.
Tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast, the G1 Climax 30 has started, and we are excited. We're also going to give you our Clash of Champions pay-per-view predictions, for which we are less excited. We are going to talk about the Wednesday Night Wars, maybe some Ring of Honor later, that, and a whole bunch more tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast.
Okay, see, there you go. I didn't watch Ring of Honor. Son of a bitch.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Band from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Hands for Show. Hold on a second. Hold on. A.k.a. Hand for Show, Job for Dough. And sitting to my left, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Allow us to bow our heads as I read from the latest edition of the Band from Ringside podcast, volume 174, chapter 3, verse 14. And the good smart saith, hashtag boo the heels. It is all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. Shout out to all the peeps that are subscribing to Anchor. The numbers slowly but surely climbing up. We're going to retire sometime in the next 30 to 40 years at this rate.
Nice.
So do us a favor. You listen to the podcast, share it to the next person, so that then they share it to the next person, and so on and so forth. So that way we can retire in the next 20 to 30 years.
And out there in Edwardsville, Illinois, we have Two Beer. Zach Pullman, what's going on, Two Beer?
Oh, man, it's a good day. It's my daughter's 8th birthday, my youngest daughter.
Jeez.
So she's just got us eating a bunch of terrible food all day.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like a real bummer.
I know. It's kind of a typical day for me, really.
You're stupid.
So, like I said in the intro, the G1 started. As I've said a few times on the show, it is the real WrestleMania, and the first 4 nights have not disappointed. They've been good. They've been pretty good, and we're getting ready to dive all into that. Before we do, Jason, tell us about F&B Eatery.
F&B Eatery on the corner of 3453 Southampton and Marquette, home of the best smash burger you never heard of. So let's alleviate that problem. Why don't you slide on in, grab a gift card while you're there, get a smash burger, get the kids out of the house. Beautiful days left. Fall's getting ready to come in, and then you know old man Winter's going to come in, and the way 2020 is acting, you know old man Winter's going to end that bad boy real nice and ugly. So do yourself a favor. Get a little slice of some greatness out of this cesspool pie that we call 2020. Go to F&B Eatery. Tell them Band from Ringside sent you.
All right, let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
All right, let's do something a little different here. He's got to go celebrate his daughter's birthday. We're going to let Zach take the 1 count right now. Zach, what's the 1 count?
1 count is the G1. G1 is for 1 count. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but it's been 30 years of G1, and it's named after our podcast. So
Yeah, right.
we started out the entire series starts out with a classic rivalry, one for the ages. That is Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura. Like, I love these guys. Like, if you guys remember, if you've been longtime listeners or longtime followers of New Japan, like last year, or maybe it was late 2018, these young lions like wrestled every night for a draw for it was something like 26, 27 like draws in a row. And then they started trading wins like back and forth. And I haven't looked at what like the score is between them, but I would assume
The all-time
just based on
series.
long-term booking. The all-time. I imagine they probably just trade back and forth now. But Uemura took this one with the Boston Crab. Just classic wrestling. Like, Uemura is going to be a star. The guy has the second best dropkick in the business, like second only to Okada. And he's just really like beefed up. I think the COVID has like these guys with some extra time in the gym. Even Tsuji looks a little more cut than he did. He's kind of a bigger, like heavy guy. But these young lion matches are nothing to skip. They're great every single night.
Unless you're Bill.
And they're only doing one. They're not doing those
watched
prelims. Yeah, they're not doing like the prelims, like the 8 and 10 man tags and stuff.
I love that.
So
I'm glad you mentioned it because I like that so much better. I'd rather just watch 1-on-1 and then get right into the G1.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think this is preferable, especially probably for the guys. I saw an interview with Kenny Omega and John Moxley, and they're both like, oh, those guys are so lucky because they don't have to do even though those tags are usually short, you got to, like, it's an extra day on a bus and, like, just all kinds of stuff, you know, so. But anyway, let's a long story, but skip those, or don't skip those. They're fantastic. And then next we have Will Ospreay in the worst match of the night. That's right. Not his fault. It's the wrong Takahashi, like we said, is in the G1 and it's huge. I don't know if it's the pimp gimmick or just like him just being a so-so worker, but like he just brings this whole thing down. Ospreay went over with a Stormbreaker, thankfully, and then he kind of cut like what could be kind of, it started out as a babyface, but then could be like kind of a conceited heel promo. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes.
I thought it was kind of hokey, to be honest.
It was hokey,
but it doesn't. It kind of telegraphs where they might be going with the tournament to have the first match have Will Ospreay grab a live mic and cut a promo right after it. Right? No, Jason.
I'm not. It was weird in the sense because this is not what New Japan does. This is not what it's how it's supposed to go. That said, I'm kind of a firm believer of letting sleeping dogs lie, and it was refreshing to hear. Yeah, he was excited, nervous, all these things. Hell, I was for him too. I just didn't know how the fans would react. I just think that some things are just best left unsaid, and taking the mic there just really didn't serve much purpose. It almost kind of puts him back in the spotlight where you just don't necessarily want to be.
But let's just, because this is a podcast and because it's an audio medium, why don't you say what might better be left unsaid?
I don't think that he should. If I'm nervous for him, then I know he's nervous. So let's just focus on the match and move.
But why were you nervous for him?
Because I thought the fans were going to boo his ass.
Why?
Because I thought that they were going to take what it has been accused of whatever you want to call it.
What is that?
He's clearly been accused and or he did blackball this woman. B. Priestley's a part of it.
Okay.
So now it's a big deal. That's why he kind of disappeared, plus COVID happened. So now when he comes back, the last thing for me I want to hear you say is anything remotely related to this issue with this woman that you blackballed for whatever reason.
Okay. I'm just trying to get it out there so that the listener knows what we're talking about when we say what shouldn't be said.
Well,
all right.
Fair enough.
Zach, go ahead.
And I mean, I only say that was the worst match of the night because every other match was so exceptional, right? This A block is stacked. Jeff Cobb and Tai Chi. I mean, these guys like put it out there. Like Jeff Cobb didn't let Tai Chi have the night off, and Tai Chi went over with a Black Mephisto. Jeff Cobb didn't do as many power moves as like he usually does. He didn't do as many as he did in the second night. But I mean, this was a solid match, like between these guys, like pretty heavy hitting.
And then Tai Chi cut a promo.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's like kind of a new format that they're doing since these are shorter, tighter matches, or maybe they're just like setting the tone for the tournament at large, and they'll pull back on that. I'm not sure. It
seems to me like Cobb is better with a guy that can really bump around for him. I mean, I liked this match. I liked Tai Chi. I like Tai Chi. Tai Chi, after we know what happened in night 3, it seemed like his promo was just setting up what he did in night 3, which was when he went back. He said in night 1, he's like, I'm a different guy now. Don't worry about me. And then night 3 went right back to his heel shit.
Right.
Sorry, Zach. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Then we had Ishii versus Suzuki. And like I said on Friends of BFR, whenever Bill commented about this match, like, you knew what this match was going to be beforehand. You could lay the entire thing out, like, in your head. And it's the same match that it always is. Because, like, we've seen these guys before. Substitute, like Hiroki Goto, substitute. Even, like, Shingo Takagi, like, some of these guys. A lot of those, like, never open weight guys. And even though you've seen it 1,000 times, you would still watch it 1,000 times again because it's just awesome. They just beat the shit out of each other. And finally, eventually, Suzuki reverses the brainbuster into a gotch pile driver, and Ishii's just like completely vertical right on top of his head and ends up just right on his head. And Suzuki takes that one from Ishii. But yeah, this match was awesome. It was one of the highlights of the week.
What you think about the match, Jason?
I said it on Twitter watching the match. I knew this was just going to be straightforward. Neither guy was going to give ground. It was just basically who was going to be left standing at the end and just make sure that the ice was ready to go. As much as I like Ishii, this just makes sense for Suzuki to go over. But like I said, this match was basically no holds barred. They're slapping the shit out of each other. Like, you owe me money slapping the shit out of each other. That shit to me was the start of the match, and it just basically just ramped up from that point on. Probably the most physical match we've seen, I think, in the first 4 days, easily.
And just as an aside, I can't add anything more to it than you guys did, other than the fact that I loved it. It was one of those matches that kind of makes you forget that you're watching a simulated sport. But I just want to put this out there that Suzuki is 52 years old.
See?
Oh, yeah.
See? And everybody's worried about, Jason, you should slow that, fill in the blank down. I think I'm okay. I got Suzuki to walk after.
Right. Yeah, you guys are very comparable in terms of body type and conditioning. All right, Zach, what was next? Yeah, and haircuts.
Oh, hey. I ain't even going to try to pull off the Suzuki nonsense.
Goldberg's only 2 years older than him. I think you're more falling in that columb.
I got me thinking about Goldberg in the G1.
Yeah, right. He would get roasted. I was about to say
he'd probably end at least 9 careers, and there's only 9 other people in his block.
Right.
Yujiro would love to see him. He'd be like, "Shit, I got a chance."
Yeah, no shit. So then we had Shingo Takagi and Jay White, and Jay White's back, baby. And I think New Japan is better for it. It was nice to see him on the Strong shows, but like, Jay White is great, guys. He is classic old school heel, similar to MJF, but he doesn't necessarily rely on kind of pure wit so much. He just relies on like really old school like heel tactics. Like a Jay White match starts with him rolling out of the ring every single time, right? And then this had a little bit too much of the Gato kind of fuckery, the ref bumps, the Bullet Club stuff. But in that way, I guess it kind of protects Shingo because Jay White does just put him out with the Blade Runner. And Jay White's whole gimmick is, he's the Switchblade. And I always thought that was just like a cool name. But I feel like every big match Jay White has, he reverses the other guy's move. And this is kind of common in New Japan, but it's always with Jay White. He always reverses the other guy's move into the Blade Runner. So that, like, I feel like that's where the Switchblade aspect comes in. But yeah, Jay White goes over Shingo Takagi in a well-fought match.
Jason?
I'm not sure if it's night 1 or night 2 or whichever night you wanted to call it. Just a block, night 1 or night 2, 1 or 3 if you want to go in chronological order. Doesn't matter. This is how good Jay White is. So you know how the Japanese fans can't verbally scream, go Ace, Ibushi, Naito, all that good stuff. Jay White knows it, and he's trying to get the fans to, verbally, scream their support for fill in the blank, and they can't do it.
Night 3, he was trying to get him to chant Ibushi.
Ibushi, yeah,
and they just wouldn't do it.
And that's where I was just like, God damn! See, this is where he is missed. He might not be the best technical wrestler. He might not be the highest flyer. He might not be the most sculpted, but he's easily one of the best heels in the business. He fucking gets it, and I miss seeing him around.
And let's not blow past the fact that he dropped some lbs, and he looks to be in really good shape, and
he looks great.
Yeah, and
he looked good before the world changed. Now he really looks shredded. You can see the abs and the whole shebang. So I mean,
one word, man, Shibata. He's like,
yeah,
he's in there with Shibata. Like he was at the LA JoJo for months, you know.
All right, and last we had Ibushi versus Okada for night one. What did you think about this match, Zach?
So you put this together in your mind, and you're like, "Oh, this is going to be like marquee, right?" I mean, this was like it's a Wrestle Kingdom match, right? The first 10 minutes of this, pretty boring, right? It's like they're working real old school,
Man,
real slow.
You took
What's
the
that?
words right out of my mouth.
see, but never mind. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
And you got Okada trying to get this goddamn money clip Cobra Clutch over, and
Yeah.
like I feel like what's her name in like Mean Girls? It's like, stop trying to make the money clip work. It's not gonna work. Like
Yeah.
just I don't like this finisher. Like I know that he's dedicated to it and he wants it to get over, but he's gonna need to beat some big name guys in this tournament with it to get it over.
It looked like
to make
Ibushi
it
did.
suspenseful.
It looked like Ibushi didn't know how to take it. Honestly, what do you think, Jason?
See, everybody forgets that there was a run when we really first started watching New Japan and started to talk about it on the podcast. He did this money quit before. He did it to Naito, where Naito was the challenger, and I think this was the build to their Wrestle Kingdom match, which Naito ends up losing. That was the move that was finishing guys off. So, I mean, it's not like this is all of a sudden, new and improved shit. He's gone away from it, going back to
it wasn't finishing this guy off, let me tell you.
Oh, no. But, I mean, I think this is...
Wait, is that Zach, are you talking about yourself or Ibushi?
I was talking about myself, yeah.
That's what I thought. I didn't want that joke to get lost in the shuffle.
That's great. Now I lost my train of thought. It's not like this is new, okay? That's all I'm going to say. We're just going back to it now. Did he go to it too many times? Yeah, I can see the arguments for that. I didn't really think that Ibushi, I guess, didn't know how to take it. I guess that's just...
It looked really awkward. I thought night 3, Takahashi took it much better. I mean, I just don't think that Ibushi knew what to do. And I agree with Zach that the first 10 minutes of this were really boring, and that's because both these guys kind of fill the same role. If they're looking to have a 20-plus minute match, both these guys are kind of the good guy, chill guy at the beginning of a match that kind of feels their way out while the other guy does something else.
Okay, but aren't you the one that always says that you like to build up to this crescendo? That's basically what happened.
Yeah, I thought this match was really boring, to be honest. I mean, I thought out of all the Okada Ibushi matches that we've watched, I mean, it didn't even come close to the Wrestle Kingdom match.
Okay, but I mean, that's Wrestle
Which
Kingdom.
I guess it's not supposed to. Yeah, I get it.
I was going to say, this is night 1 of the G1, okay? I'm sorry we didn't just, blow the load over God and everybody, but, there's plenty of time to get to this point.
Blow the load over God and everybody.
Well, that was for Zach's purposes. I'm sure he's getting ready to leave so he can go celebrate.
Take it, God. Take it.
I do love coming on deity.
Zach, it seemed like you were kind of agreeing with me here at the beginning.
Shit,
for sure.
Here we go.
And I, but I mean, it did turn into a very good match, but like, very good is, you think like immediately, like these guys headlining night 1 of the G1, you're like automatic
Spoiled.
5-star match, maybe even like 5-star above. But I mean, it was like, it sucked. We had to watch a 4.5-star match. It's like, it's still really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, we're being nitpicky, but I mean, that's
Spoiled. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know.
Spoiled.
Well, we're spoiled. Well, what do you mean we're spoiled? We've been watching fucking shit-ass WWE for 6 fucking months.
Yeah, that's true.
We're the
But
opposite
I
of
will
spoiled.
say, like,
Boy,
was
I guess I am
thinking,
spoiled.
Whoever won this was kind of likely
Right.
setting the tone to be the winner of the block, and my prediction of Ibushi, like, it makes me feel better. It's just night 1, I know, but
you got to jump to night 3, so it makes my prediction look better, and it kind of cancels out your tiebreaker.
Well, let's just stay with night. Let's just stay with block.
the A
We'll stay
block.
with the A block right
that's
now.
fine, that's fine.
Night 3 was Cobb versus Shingo, Okada versus Takahashi, Taichi beat Suzuki,
Clean.
Ospreay beat Ishii, which was a really fun match. And then in a borderline great match, as far as I'm concerned, was Jay White versus Ibushi. Which one of those jumps out to you, Zach?
It was Ospreay Ishii was probably my match of G1 so far. Like, these guys actually blended their styles so well, and it was an actual Will Ospreay as heavyweight match.
Man.
It wasn't a junior heavyweight versus, like,
Totally agree.
a heavyweight. He really changed his style up, and they just blended so well together. Like, they're so good at what they do. They both are. Like, I mean, I would not hesitate to give this like 5 stars. Like, I'd be hovering between 4.75 and 5.
You're right, though. They did meld their styles. Like, when Ishii was in control, he was making Ospreay fight his style. And when Ospreay was in control, he was making Ishii fight his style. And it was a really good back and forth, cool match to watch. I loved it. Jason, what you think?
Yeah. Ishii, real quick, Ishii's going for like the brain buster.
Yeah.
And so like Will's like constantly coming up with a new creative way to get out of it. Like, at one time he did a corkscrew stunner, right? And like one time he just kneed Ishii in the head. You know, it's just like all kinds of like just really creative shit. He did an Oz cutter off the barricade outside. Super cool.
No, this is where we were kind of trying to foresee what Will Ospreay could be as a heavyweight. So he still has the springs of the junior, but he's put the weight on like the heavy. There was a time where Ishii had Ospreay cornered had the arms on each side of the rope, basically cornered it in there, and Ospreay's trying to, wail his way out, and Ishii's just not moving. Then finally he had to go low, well, not low, but just in the stomach or whatever to finally get out. So, I mean, it's stuff like that where there's that little storytelling, and this is part of it, where this is his move ascension, if you will, into the heavyweight division, and how can he look? And he basically stupidly stood toe-to-toe with Ishii, and it turned out to be a good match. Like you said, it was a blending of styles. Ospreay is still the aerial assassin to a certain degree. He's not taking too many risks, but just enough to where he still has that moniker going. And Ishii is yeah, you can try it if you want to. I was really surprised that they stood toe-to-toe, but that was, like I said, makes it more of a heavyweight in Will Ospreay's eyes. He looks more of a heavyweight.
Yeah,
now.
they definitely want to get him over as a heavyweight.
Yeah, for sure, because there's no turning back at this point. He's got to be a heavyweight.
They have plans for him.
I'm sure.
Before we get to White and Ibushi, what do you make of, Zach, what do you make of Taichi winning his first 2 matches after he had a very impressive New Japan Cup run?
Yeah, they're really behind Taichi, and I think that's like the kind of motivation that Taichi needs, right? Because especially going over his stable leader, this was like I wouldn't say surprising, but it was definitely, just because of the push that. Yeah, it is. I say not surprising just because of the push that he's gotten recently. He's got some shine on him. But yeah, I mean that was a really good match. Like, again, like Suzuki goes for the Gotch pile driver, and Taichi turns it into the Black Mephisto, and just 1, 2, 3, like totally solid. I've watched all of these with Japanese commentary. I don't know how many are out with English commentary, but I'm watching them as they came out.
Yeah, none of them are, which is disappointing because it would have been fun to hear Kevin Kelly call that Suzuki Ishii match.
I'm going back. I say, don't get it twisted. I will go back.
Okay, so White and Ibushi. Jason, what are your thoughts on that?
This was, and Two Beer kind of alluded to it with night 1, where I said it that the winner would have the tiebreaker advantage. I didn't realize that night 2 would be Kota Ibushi and Jay White again. With Jay White winning, now you have that tiebreaker on, kind of canceling Ibushi's tiebreaker. Now Okada's next coming up. So, I mean, if you're Jay White, I mean, you're basically getting a lot of the heavyweights of the loaded block out of the way early, at least somewhat, you know what I'm saying? And, I mean, there's still plenty more to go. The match itself was really good. I like the fact that Jay White went back to the Tanahashi tap out. I think that's going to serve down the line where it can build drama in other matches, because there's going to be guys where he's going to have to, cross paths with, where, the switch, the Blade Runner's just not going to be able to be enough, where you might have to ground somebody. So seeing that is good. Ibushi is Ibushi. I still think he's going to be there at the end. Between these three guys is my guess is how the A block is going to boil down to it. And I think that's why they're trading off these wins, so the tiebreakers are going to be all convoluted. I would expect Okada to win, whatever you want to call it, night 5 against Jay White. I would assume that's the main event, and that way you can keep them all kind of, packed together, and these three guys are going to be the guys at the end of the A block, is my guess, of the guys you're going to have to figure out who's going to actually win the block itself.
There are 3 guys in the A block with 2 wins, and that's Taichi, White, and Ospreay. And there are 3 guys with 0 wins, and that's Shingo, Takahashi, and Ishii. Take it as you will. As we all know, they all have 7 more matches to go. But we're just going to make the B block the 2 counts.
1, 2, 3.
That's that quarterback audible, ladies and
All
gentlemen.
right, Jason, Jason, you take the B block.
Where is this shit at? Okay,
it's over here.
I was gonna
It's over
say, I see that. Oh, so see,
I'm trying to give you a visual.
Okay, so see, you want me to do this, so I gotta talk. Ugh, gross. Ugh, nasty. Yeah. Yano,
What?
motherfucker? Fuck Yano. Let's just get that off the table.
That's how I went. In fact, I'm going to go pee. Why don't you get yourself ready for Yano?
Yeah, I will. Whatever. B block action. Night 2 starts with Juice Robinson versus Yoshihashi. First time we've seen Juice Robinson back since the world changed. I don't think he's been on New Japan Strong yet. Zach, am I wrong?
I'm not caught up on those. I've watched.
I was getting ready to say, I haven't seen him, because I've seen him in the promos or the vignettes or whatever, but basically he hasn't had a match. But so essentially, as far as I'm concerned, this is his first match since the world has changed. The Blues Brothers look, I didn't realize that that was the Blues Brothers until I saw your tweet on Twitter, Tubeer, that I was like, damn, what's that look familiar? Why is that? Duh.
He's from Joliet, where the Blues Brothers was shot.
Huh. Now,
Like Juice, like he's from Joliet, and I think he might have came up with Tyler Black, Seth Rollins, who's also from that area.
that would make sense. Okay. See, the more you know. Seth Rollins is a Bears fan, so yeah, that would totally make sense. Juice looked good. It was good to see him back, and this is kind of what I was hoping for personally with New Japan, with seeing the announcements with everybody kind of coming back. It's good to see everybody back, and now we're getting, the G1 we kind of hoped and, kept our fingers crossed for. Juice wins over Yoshihashi. Not a huge surprise in my eyes. I think Yoshihashi is who he is. Winning the never 6-man open weight titles is a great thing for him. It's his first title in New Japan. He's not going to be Takahashi, but I think he's going to give us good matches, but his point total is essentially going to be on the low side of life.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's how I see it. He's in there. I wouldn't say to give guys a night off, but he's in there to get a surprise win.
He's a good hand.
No, he is.
And actually, he really was in this match. This match surprised me. I would have given this match 4 stars. It was really,
better
really
than
good.
No, I agree. I thought this would be kind of the throwaway match, and I really wasn't paying attention for the first 5 minutes, and all of a sudden, and see, I guess this is what Yoshihashi, Taichi, guys like that I feel like they rise to the occasion of the match itself. It's not necessarily, always going to be the same consistent 4-star that, we want to see. If it's, New Japan Road, they'll come in with a 2.5, 3-star, performance. For, night 1 for them of the G1, it's 4.5 stars. So I just wish it would be more consistent, at least for me, night in, night out, whether it's Sapporo or Corrigan Hall. For me, it just all needs to be the same.
Can we get to the next match, please?
Yeah, I guess, motherfucker. Shit.
Go ahead. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, your boy, the sublime master thief, Yano, defeats Sonata in.
Oh yeah.
I guess this is, and I said it on before you guys start, doing your little end zone celebration dance. Let me get this out the way first. I guess this is kind of the reason why Sonata, and I just now we're starting to realize this, Sonata hasn't really gotten over, is that he's not signed to New Japan. And it's not a knock against Yano. God bless him. He won the match. He won day 2, night 4, whatever you want to call it.
Against Tanahashi.
What's the world come to? 2020 in a nutshell. Yano beats fucking the ace in New Japan or and the G1.
I mean, you don't have to say end zone victory dance for you guys. I think Zach's just normal about Yano. The only reason I pour it on is because how much you hate him.
Oh my God.
Also, I do think he's legitimately funny.
Okay,
Zach's just normal about him. Zach just doesn't hate him. He's not.
Okay, see, this is why I have a problem with it, because Sonata. If you want to give the win between him and Sonata and Tanahashi, this is the one you give. I'll give you that. This is fair.
Both.
No, you get one or the other. You don't get both. This was classic Yano. Okay? I don't even know how the hell the young lion got his dumb ass tied up. Next thing you know, I'm looking up. You got the 3-legged monster between him and the young lion, and Yano's going back and winning the match. Okay, that's fair. It is what it is.
That's not the first time.
And it's not going to be the last.
No, it's not the first time the words Yano and 3-legged monster have been in the same sentence.
you ain't shit. But that's my problem with, I guess, Sonata's booking, and now I guess why I'm starting to see why he's never gone over. He's not signed with New Japan, so it's kind of like Ibushi. He only goes so far, then he's not getting over that hump. So he's never going to be that guy. He'll be the dark horse. He'll have good matches, but you'll never see him actually be the New Japan Cup winner.
I'm just saying it might be time for a Yano push. I know he's been around since 2001 or whatever. I did put on at BFR Bill on Twitter and Friends of BFR on Facebook. It is pretty funny. I read Yano's entire Wikipedia page today, and he was apparently fought college Greco-Roman style wrestling, and he was successful as a college athlete. He's a year older than me. He was born in 1978. And then he tried his hand at mixed martial arts, lost in the second round submission via armbar, and was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do pro wrestling.
As well you should. This shit hurts. You breaking my shit.
Zach, any thoughts on Yano? We can either match. Any thoughts?
I was surprised that he went over Tanahashi, and it's been pretty creative, like the way that he did it. Like, considering he did the Tanahashi thing blind, essentially, that was wild. Tanahashi used his wrist tape against him, wrapped it over his eyes, and then he ended up kicking Tanahashi.
Okay, okay, that's that WWE bullshit right there. Now I got to call this shit out. Seriously? So then what was the point? Why did... The fact that... I don't know which is more surprising. If you'd have told me after these first 4 shows that Yano would be tied with 4 points, or the ace of New Japan would have no points, is more surprising. This blows my mind. This should have been a layup for Tanahashi. Not saying he's not going to make a run, because I would assume that's where we're going to go with this story.
I think they did this last year, too. I think they gave Yano a couple quick wins at the beginning, and then, he kind of fades.
Yeah, as long as he don't get...
bracket buster.
I mean, what do you think that Yano's actually going to be there at the end? He's not. He's there for...
No, if you want to get him out the way right now. As long as he don't fuck with my boy shit, we're going to be just fine.
Calling him comic relief WWE style is actually an insult to Yano, because... there is nothing that's ever been on WWE television that was supposed to be comedy that's as funny as Yano. Now, listen, Stone Cold Steve Austin is funny, but Stone Cold Steve Austin, he's main event funny.
Team Hell No?
He's legit funny. Who?
Team Hell No?
Team Hell No, they were presented as serious wrestlers, though. They weren't comedy. Yano's not presented as a serious wrestler.
Okay,
listen,
we're gonna get off track.
Listen, we can sit here and talk.
Yeah,
how long do you want to talk about
Yano?
Yano? I'll sit here and talk about Yano.
We about to get
Zach has a birthday party
right,
to go
that's
to.
what I'm saying. You're welcome, Zach. Kenta versus Goto is next. I thought this was a toss-up match coming in, but I really thought that Goto was going to be the guy to go over in this match. But Kenta, with a little fuckery, gets this one, so he gets the 2 points there. You had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Evil next. This is where I think a lot of the guys that had a problem with Evil being the double champion. This is the booking that you might point at and say that this is why you don't have him as double champ. I thought Zack Sabre Jr. would be someone you can use Evil to kind of get over because he is a tag champ. He has this kind of pedigree. He was a former New Japan Cup winner. So that way you can kind of get Evil started on the right track, especially with Naito in this bracket, Sonata as well. So you figure obviously their paths are going to cross. You would want to get them off to a good start. But Zack Sabre Jr. overcomes the odds. Evil, I can't remember the last time he's actually really won a match. It's been a while. He was losing matches up through the New Japan Road tour towards the end, and he loses the opening match even with Dick Togo in the corner. So I mean, there's something to look out for there. And then finally in the last match of night 2, Naito versus Tanahashi, I thought was, of course, obviously amazing, but just for the fact that I really thought that this was the match of the 2 matches that Naito was going to have. I thought this was the match that he was going to lose. Ends up pulling this Joker out. Very, very back and forth until the end. Tanahashi misses a splash. The match turns around from there, and Naito gets the pin. So that basically ends night 2 of the B block.
Zach, let's start at the last one. Any thoughts on Naito versus Tanahashi?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Even though they had a little bit of a botch on the Destino, like this was classic big match Tanahashi. Again, like I mean, I'd put this like 4.75, 5-star. I'm just like hovering around. These main events have been great. This like anytime Tanahashi does the high five flow from the top of the floor, oh man, I'm in. I'm in.
No, that's when you knew this was a main event match. I was like, okay, it's on. Just say, God damn.
I gotta admit, for the last 3 matches of this, I was actually dealing with some work stuff, and so I didn't really get to pay that much attention to these last 3 matches. But Zach, any thoughts on 2 beer Zack Sabre Jr. versus Evil?
Yeah, like Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, we both got big packages, right?
Right.
Sure. Yes.
That's where it's coming from. But I mean, like Zack Sabre Jr. is like the true definition of like a spoiler. Like, I mean, he's got the body of a guy who survived the Irish potato famine, and then like the face of a woman who died in it. But he really actually can beat anyone in the
He's
entire
heating
world.
up.
Okay, I was
that's
going to
his
say,
gimmick.
what the fuck, man? I'll say, you better show my boy some goddamn respect.
That is. I mean, I hit a.
That was for Bill, really, because Bill really was always about. He's like, I can't take this Zack Sabre Jr. guy seriously. So like, my Zack Sabre Jr. body jokes are really always they're always for Bill.
Listen, I hit one of the drops on that. I hit the he's heating up because that's a fucking hilarious joke. Holy shit. Cesaro almost just died. That is a really, really funny joke. It was so good. It's one of those jokes that I couldn't even laugh at because it was so funny. But I just want to say that a long time ago, even back when we were at Shock City Studios with Sam, Mr. Perfect's in the house.
Mr. Perfect's in the house?
Even when we were back there with Sam, I said, listen, guys, mea culpa. I'm wrong about Zack Sabre Jr. I was so wrong about Zack Sabre Jr. But here's Zack. He's still bringing it up.
We bring up old shit around here. What do you want? I'll say, come on now. Were you ready for, I guess, night 4?
Well, I still want to hear what
Zach,
we didn't let Zach finish. He had the Holocaust or the potato famine joke. I mean, I don't know. You never know what's coming out of Zach's mouth.
Really? Right.
But, we've got really the point of that is that he is a total spoiler, and even though he might not be main event. He could be in any main event. He is billed as the best technical wrestler in the world. He's booked as the best technical wrestler in the world. And the whole concept is that any given night, kind of like Al Pacino, any given Sunday, right?
Right.
Zack Sabre Jr. can beat you. And so any kind of loss to him is not putting anybody back. And if you beat him, it's kind of a feather in your cap because he really sneaks out that, what do they call that thing? The European clutch or whatever?
Yeah.
That back bridge pin.
Yeah.
He can, he'll beat anybody with that thing.
He is the strangest wrestler he's the strangest big time wrestler in the world.
I really wish that, and this is just me, just minor fantasy booking for 30 seconds. I was just talking about Sonata. Zack Sabre Jr. is kind of in this boat or whatever. I think his ceiling is only so far as long as he's not under the New Japan umbrella. I wish one of these guys would, kind of get the push to the top, and then let's just kind of see what happens. I mean, the roster is pretty much, quote unquote, back to normal at this point. I know we did it with Evil, but I think Evil was kind of a necessary evil, for lack of a better term. I think if you tried it again, whoever it is, whether it's Sonata, Zack Sabre Jr., so on and so forth, this might be a scenario where it could actually work because the roster is a little more complete. It has depth where you can have, matches where it can build a title reign.
All right, Zach, any thoughts on Kenta versus Goto?
Kenta versus Goto just hard hitting. I kind of expected that. Again, like Jason said, kind of a toss up on who was going to win. But they're pushing Kenta because he's got that briefcase to go after Moxley's U.S. belt. He comes out. The briefcase looks a little cheesy, but it's just a gimmick. It's whatever. But he is the number one contender for the U.S. title, and that title is held by big name people. Even though it's not defended as often, it's not a throwaway title. They have a ton of titles in New Japan, but that one means something. It
Right.
was held by Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, these guys,
Moxley?
big name stars. Moxley, yeah, John Moxley, currently. Even Juice Robinson, he got his little bit of time with it. I think he'll have it again because Juice is super over. And,
You didn't name a single Japanese wrestler there. You just named a bunch of gaijin.
That's because that's what the U.S. title has been. It's the opposite of what Vince does with the U.S. title. Vince puts the U.S. title on non-Americans, or at least non-Americans in kayfabe, because he thinks it gets heat. And Gedo puts the U.S. title on
U.S. people?
on white people. Yeah.
Okay, so on night 4, we had Goto goes over Sonata. Yano goes over Tanahashi. We can talk about that some more if we want to. Juice goes over Kenta. When I was pissing, did you guys talk about Juice's new look? He looks way different. Evil goes over Yoshihashi. And Naito goes over Zack Sabre Jr. in what was my favorite match of the night. What sticks out from you there, Zach?
Yeah, Naito Zack Sabre was really good. Really Zack trying to be sneaky. Naito, doing his Tranquillo stuff. He does the Tranquillo roll, and then Zack Sabre runs in and does the crucifix roll up on him, which I thought was so smart because how often usually they just stand out there all mad,
right?
And he watched the tapes, he scouted.
Yeah, there you go.
Well.
There you go. It's not saying we'll make you a sports fan yet.
Yeah. So it was just a really good back and forth match, and Naito got all his shit, and there was a lot at the end. I was like, the Destino's kind of hard to pull off, and I don't think you need to do it 4 times to finish a match, even in the G1.
Okay,
I just feel like that was just a lot. That match could have ended a couple minutes sooner, and I'd have been fine.
I think it was a 28-minute match.
Yeah, it was. I was going to say it was almost 30 minutes, and this you're kind of getting to my point of why I like Okada with the money clip as a alternate hold. I mean, let's call it for what it is, and we've said it before. Naito's getting old. I mean, some of this is on Naito because he's got to get on.
How hard was it for you to say that?
Not that hard. I was getting ready to say LeBron is the only guy that I know of current day of age is the only guy that's fighting battle of Father Time. Father Time's going to get him. It's just taking Father Time.
He's the only one beating Father Time.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Whatever you want to call it.
Kobe beat it.
Cold-blooded. I mean, damn, what took you so long? The look on my face was like, what the fuck did you just say? You ain't even close enough for me to drive out there, and I want to drive out there and whoop your ass. You ain't supposed to be making no jokes about Kobe like that. What the fuck is wrong with you? He's a national goddamn treasure in 2020. They took him away from us. Unreal. That was fucked up. Now I forgot what the fuck I was going to say.
Who cares?
That was good. That was well played.
You're talking about Naito getting old.
Well, a part of that is on him because he's got to get the run. He's got to get the run and start. So I mean, yeah, they look jacked up, but that's why I like Okada with the money clip. If for whatever reason you have this botch, you could turn it into something. This is why I like Zack Sabre Jr. He's got a reversal for every hold. Don't get me wrong. It didn't really take away from the match that much. Was it obvious? Yeah, Stevie Wonder could see it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this is my, advocacy for the money clip. There's a use for it. How many times are we going to have to see the goddamn Rainmaker over and over and over again, okay? At a certain point, you could throw me the money clip curveball.
I mean, I see your point there with how many times do we have to see the Rainmaker. He didn't go for the Rainmaker one time against Ibushi. Didn't even try for it. Now, they might be telling a longer story, which is he's trying to get away from the Rainmaker, and then he has to come back later on in the G1.
Yeah, finally, okay, fuck it, I can't get these guys.
Which is why you have to kind of reserve your judgment.
Road. It's a long road.
It's also a weekly podcast, so we get to overreact to everything.
I'll say that's what I do anyway. I thought we knew that.
I mean, I'll say this about Night 4. On paper, it didn't look very exciting to me, and it actually ended up being not very exciting, and that's going to happen.
I totally disagree.
You totally disagree with that?
Tai Chi versus over.
No. Night 4.
That was the second night.
Goto Sanada, Yano Tanahashi, Juice Kenta, Evil Yoshihashi, and Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, okay. All right. Never
It's
mind.
that weed. Yeah. You're the stoned pit bull.
Yeah, good. Dude, don't even get me started. That might be copyright infringement like nobody's business. Okay, but I don't think every night is going to be. This goes back to another point. It's not always going to be 5-star.
That's not what I'm saying. I guess all I'm saying is that
you're saying that was the
Block A is just fucking. I'm just reiterating how stacked it is. Zach, anything else there that you want to talk about from Night 4?
No, I mean, it was kind of what I struggled to watch today just to be caught up. And after I watched it, I was like, I mean, the main event was good, but I don't skip anything in the G1, but I'm like, that's forgettable, right? It's not skippable because I enjoyed it, and there was
compared to the first night. Well, Night 2 of the B block.
The first night of B block was way better than the second night, and there's some ebb and flow there. But yeah, am I glad I watched it? Yeah, but there was some forgettable stuff.
Coming up before next week's podcast. Next week is Taichi versus Takahashi, Cobb versus Suzuki, Ibushi versus Ishii, Ospreay versus Shingo, and Okada versus White.
Ospreay versus Shingo is like
a rematch of
the
Best of the Super Juniors. Yeah,
right.
Jesus Christ, it's game on.
Yoshihashi Sanada, Sabre Jr. versus Kenta, Tanahashi versus Juice, Yano versus Evil. Looking for my dude to go.
Dude, if he wins that fucking match, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Goto versus Naito. That was 5 and 6. A lot of stuff to look forward to. Just looking over this other stuff. Okada versus Taichi. Will Ospreay versus Jay White in the Battle of the Whites.
You did not. You wrong.
And Yano can totally beat Juice Robinson. And
no, that's not going to happen.
Naito versus Sanada. I mean, looking forward to all of those, to be honest.
There's plenty of storylines to play with.
Guys, listeners, if you're not watching the G1, go find a way to go watch it. Go subscribe to the channel if you need to, just for a little while. Hit up Jason. He'll give you his password.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Hey, Zach, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say your youngest daughter's name, but please tell her happy birthday from Uncle Bill for me.
I will. Yeah, her name's Kazuchika.
That is a beautiful name. I had an Aunt Kazuchika.
Wow.
Stays in
Unreal.
the family.
All right. That's going to do it. See you, Zach. That's going to do it for our 2 counts.
1, 2, 3.
All right. The 3 count is the Wednesday Night Wars. We're going to get to our Clash of Champions predictions here in a minute. But because this is my 3 count and because I'm going to do it the way I want to, I'm going to start backwards from the most important thing that happened last night in either show, if you ask me, is Kyle O'Reilly wins the gauntlet match with Kushida, Bronson Reed, Timothy Thatcher, and Cameron Grimes. Kyle O'Reilly runs the gauntlet and becomes the number 1 contender to take on Finn Balor at the next TakeOver, which apparently is next weekend. I guess.
Surprise.
Yeah. My thoughts on Kyle O'Reilly winning is good. He was the one that I was rooting for. It seems when you look at those guys that the only other guy that probably could have won would have been Thatcher, unless you disagree. I'm excited for Kyle O'Reilly as a singles competitor.
It's an inspired move for sure.
Thoughts?
It's an inspired move, like I said. I think, and I don't know how many people go back, how far they go back with Kyle O'Reilly, but he is a singles guy. You know, don't get me wrong. Him and Bobby Fish, Red Dragon, obviously now with Undisputed Era, they were that quote-unquote tag team for the faction. I get that. But this is not too far beyond the realm of possibility of him having singles success. Now, that said, my first thought after he won was, okay, will Undisputed Era come out and celebrate with him? 2 of the 3 came out, no Bobby Fish. Maybe Bobby Fish is not there, doesn't really matter. So I guess I'm looking kind of ahead where, you know, at some point I'm assuming that the breakup is going to happen. I kind of like what Kyle O'Reilly said in the vignette where he said it doesn't really matter who is the head as long as we bring back the titles. So he has that, you know, group mentality of, you know, it's Undisputed Era. It doesn't matter who's the champ as long as we have the championship with us. I'm curious to see if that plays out to where Adam Cole turns on him, and this is how you get sympathy for Kyle O'Reilly. There's obviously a little divide in Undisputed Era where, to me, Adam Cole is in the middle, Kyle is on one side, Bobby Fish and Roddy are on the other. How this plays out the next week or so, because Adam Cole is going to move up. There's just nothing else for him in NXT for him to do. What happens to the Undisputed Era, I guess, is the ultimate question. Do they move with? If they stay, and feels like they're starting to stay a little bit, this is the storyline I think we're going to roll with moving forward.
I wouldn't be surprised if they moved up and left Kyle O'Reilly back, because it seems clear that Kyle O'Reilly has a face turn coming around the corner. He did stand up for Jake Atlas last week, got in Ciampa's face, which seems like we're going to have a Ciampa Kyle O'Reilly feud coming up, which sounds
once again
very exciting.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I mean, this is not a tag team wrestler breaking off as a singles guy. He's had singles runs. He was a part of Wrestle Kingdom as a singles guy one of the last 3 or 4 years. I can't remember which match it was I saw, but there's evidence there that he's been that guy. ROH, he was that guy before he hooked up with Bobby Fish. So, I mean, there's evidence there. It's just, like I said, how they play it out is the $64,000 question. Honestly, I thought that Cameron Grimes was the guy that was going to win this match, if I said anybody, because Finn Balor has kind of said that he likes Cameron Grimes, he likes working with Cameron Grimes, and he was there at the end. So, not saying that it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly. I would kind of doubt it, especially with Finn getting the title. I think the bigger story is Undisputed Era, but don't be surprised if Cameron Grimes comes down the line somewhere and they'll have a good match. I don't have a doubt about that. But
O'Reilly and Balor?
O'Reilly and Balor have a great match. I think, like I said, Kyle O'Reilly, the great part about Kyle O'Reilly, and I know I'm just gushing over him, but the way he won the gauntlet match, and Tom Phillips kind of hit on it, it was in different ways. With Timothy Thatcher, he broke him down, because Timothy Thatcher's that guy. All you've seen was Timothy Thatcher vignettes, and he broke him down. With Bronson Reed, it was more aerial. He jumped off the top, knocked him out. With
Bronson Reed.
Cameron Grimes, at the end, he tapped him out. So, I mean, it was a different story with, trying to show the fans that Kyle O'Reilly is, worthy, for lack of a better term, to be the number one contender, because there might be that segment that just doesn't buy into it. They did a good job at least telling you this is the reason why to buy into it.
I think this is one of those things with NXT, again, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but if this was in front of a crowd at Full Sail, that crowd would have been so behind Kyle O'Reilly, because everybody wants to root for Undisputed Era because they're the cool heels.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been guys that have come before that said, I don't want to be the cool heel. I think Ziggler was the first one to say that I can remember, to actually point out that I'm not trying to be a cool heel. But cool heels are why you watch wrestling. You want to watch cool heels. You're not in it for baby faces.
No.
Right now, just to have on in the background, I turned on Clash of Champions 2016. We're watching Jericho versus Sami Zayn right now. And these are two guys who are at their best when they're the cool heel.
Agreed.
And Undisputed Era have been the cool heels forever. Adam Cole and
Baby!
Everybody does it. Everybody does it because it's fun. When it was
right.
Bobby Roode, everybody did the Glorious, just
yeah.
when we did the NXT TakeOver do-over. So I am excited for Kyle O'Reilly versus Finn Balor. It seems unlikely that Finn Balor is some kind of transitional champion, especially after Karrion Kross went down with an injury.
There's stories to be told there.
Stories to be told.
Whether it's Kross versus Ciampa, whether it's Kross versus Balor, whether it's Ciampa versus Kyle O'Reilly, if they wanted to really, shake up the world and make Kyle O'Reilly the champion. I mean, there's at least angles there. And I know we're going to talk about NXT a little more, but I guess here's my transition into, the front of the show. My least favorite part of NXT was the women's battle royal.
It was bad.
It wasn't bad. It was just a bunch of people we didn't know. And this is what...
Well, that's why you don't have a battle royal.
No.
That's why you have a fatal four-way or something.
Hang on. Okay. Fair enough. If you could have went with it, a couple of different ways. The gauntlet elimination is a nice new concept. I like that moving forward versus the quote-unquote gauntlet match, okay? It's different from the main roster, and I want to try to, when I say main roster, I mean Raw and SmackDown. I want to try to keep NXT as fresh and new as possible. This was a new concept. It worked perfect. Okay, the Battle Royal didn't work because it was a bunch of women you really didn't know. It felt Raw and SmackDown heavy, at least booking-wise, where you had Shotzi Blackheart, you had Rhea Ripley, but then after that, you're starting to have a little drop. Rena Gonzalez, God bless her, between her and Ripley, they did a lot of the heavy lifting until...
Which seems like they're moving towards a feud between those two.
Okay, and that's fine. And, sorry, Zach, since you're not here, sorry that Rhea got eliminated. But
Fuck
I mean...
you, Zach.
No, we ain't going to go like that. But I'm sorry that the Rhea Ripley fans I know are going to be pissed off about this. But, I get why you're pissed off, and I understand that. I think we're starting to just try to delay the inevitable Rhea versus Io matchup, which kind of points out how top-heavy this division is. There was a lot of girls in there, girls, women, no disrespect. There was a lot of women in there that I didn't know, and that's a problem. That's not the NXT that I grew up with, quote-unquote. It just felt like you could have just went, like you said, fatal four-way, pick these four women out, go with that. Tegan Knox didn't come out like I thought she would, so there's another one that we really didn't even get a chance to touch on. So I just, like I said, it was good bookends. The bad bookend was the women's battle royal because there was just a lot of women that just really did. Field had no chance.
We should point out that Candice LeRae won. So Candice LeRae will be taking on Io Shirai. I don't see Io Shirai giving it up.
But it was time to do something with Candice LeRae. I mean, the Johnny Gargano waist, gimmick is good, but at some point you need a little bit of a payoff. Here's the payoff. Unfortunately, like you said, I don't see them coughing it up to Candice. But you needed something to, put the focus on Candice. The heel turn was good, but they never really gave her, a little push afterwards to make her feel like, legitimate heel contender or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, it's going to be a good match, but I agree with you. I just can't see Io Shirai coughing it up at this point.
There's some shit on here that I don't feel like talking about that I'll fly by real fast. I don't get where Breezango is. I know that they're the tag team champions. I don't get why they're still doing the comedy thing. I wish that they would just take it themselves a little bit more seriously. I know their name is Breezango and shit, but still, like Johnny Curtis, sometimes he uses his regular voice, sometimes he uses his Fandango voice. That's a problem for me. Jake Atlas versus Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa completely solidified himself as a big-time heel, which is where he thrives. I'm wearing my Ciampa shirt right now.
True story.
We had, in what was an inspired piece of booking, Danny Burch and Roderick Strong teamed up against Raul Mendoza and Eichner. Fabian Eichner?
No, it was it's Fabian Eichner. I was thinking it was Marcel Bartel, but it was Fabian Eichner.
And whichever team won, their two teams would face each other for the number one contendership. Danny Burch and Roderick Strong won, so it looks like we're going to have, I guess,
Burch and Lorcan versus
Strong
Fish.
And Fish.
Yeah. See that? Okay. See, there you go. There you go. Stop the tape. That was the problem with that whole tag team division. You have all four of them in one match, which is not necessarily what I grew up with. My NXT wasn't four division tag teams. So you got a problem with that. Then you put them all in basically one match, but you separate them. I mean, come on, man. That's that Raw and SmackDown booking.
Right. It doesn't get anybody over.
Right. Because now, even if you think you know, you really don't know. Because you kind of was like, okay, so what's the next match? We get the
right.
The line of thought. It's just so convoluted that it doesn't even make sense anymore. You need more tag teams. This is like,
I don't know if you need more tag teams.
Yeah,
you need to book them better.
Yeah, you do. You got it. You can't just have these four teams. We've already seen everybody that Breezango has faced in some form or fashion in the last month or so, month and a half or so.
I just don't know why they're putting it on Legado del Fantasma. I don't even know if I said that right.
No, you did.
But I don't even know why they're. What I thought that Breezango would be a
transitional.
Thank you, transitional champion for Legado del Fantasma. See, I fucked it up that time.
No, right.
Every time I get it right, it's an accident.
You thought about it. But we've already did that. That was Undisputed Era. So, I mean, and that, okay, I guess this is why you got to watch 205 because Swerve had a vignette this week, basically, calling out, El Fantasma or whatever, and I'm ready to do, ready to take the title off you. I've beaten you twice. I'm like, you beaten him twice? I don't even remember the second time you beat him. That was on 205. So I mean, NXT is just kind of in a weird little spot where you got guys hurt, top guys hurt, especially when it's Karrion Kross. You have guys like Kushida that was built up for this match, a gauntlet elimination match, only to go down to Velveteen Dream by interference. So, I mean, obviously they're going to go ahead and feud or whatever. it just feels like it's a transitional kind of NXT, which is fine. I mean, you can't keep Adam Cole there forever. Johnny Gargano clearly feels comfortable there, so be it. Ciampa the same way, but you still got to flip this roster at some point. So this is the growing pains of this NXT roster.
Yeah, but it kind of feels fucked up that they're in the middle of a transitional period when they're in the middle of what we call the Wednesday Night Wars, where they took their guy. They took the guy that should be at the top, Keith Lee, or Karrion Kross got hurt. That's nobody's fault.
No.
But they took the guy, Keith Lee, and they have brought him up to the main roster, and he hasn't necessarily been jobbing, but he doesn't have a match this Sunday at Clash of Champions. I mean, there's probably not even anything to respond to that.
It kind of goes back to my hesitancy leading up to the Keith Lee Karrion Kross match. I wish they would have gave Keith Lee some wins underneath his belt besides Dijakovic. God bless that boy. I hope make sure those checks getting paid for that main roster
seriously.
nonsense.
Invest.
Yeah, just so that way you ain't never got to come back and do this retribution shit again. I wish they would have gave Keith Lee more wins underneath the belt, build him up, so that way when Karrion Kross beat him, it was more of a rub, and it felt like, okay, like Shinsuke Nakamura. We were been doing the NXT TakeOver reviews or whatever. When Shinsuke lost, it felt like, okay, this was a good time for him to lose. He's getting ready to go to the main roster. In this case, the last time he lost to Bobby Roode, it was a nice little send-off. Keith Lee losing to Karrion Kross felt inevitable, but it just happened so fast. It was just like, okay, what the fuck?
Right.
So now, if you move Keith Lee up, I would like to think you have some sort of plan for him. I think the plan was to keep him kind of in the Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre vertex or whatever until you quote-unquote decided that both guys were ready to wrestle and that's going to be your main event on Sunday. That's great, but I mean, none of this does anything for Keith Lee. He should have just, this one of those times where you just should have just left well enough alone, keep him in NXT. You wouldn't have such a top-heavy NXT because each division to me feels really, really top-heavy. You got 2 or 3 people, whether it's male, female, or tag teams, that are the standout, personas, and then that's it. It starts to drop. They haven't done anything to develop other talent, unless you're doing it on 205, which, like I said, I will openly admit I haven't watched. That's a problem. Now that's why this whole NXT show looked weird, and it felt weird because it was people like, okay, I know this person, but I don't know this person. Oh, yeah, this is cool, but yeah, oh, wait. It's like I said, it's moving parts, and I'm trying to be patient with it, but man, that Battle Royal was just so brutal. Ridge Holland, God bless that dude. Squash match on NXT.
At least he didn't kill anybody this week. And I'll say that Damian Priest is doing okay as the North American champion. He has a cool entrance. He's a pretty good babyface. He went over Austin Theory. That's pretty much all I want to say about Damian Priest.
This is banned from ringside.
So we get over to AEW Dynamite. I'm not even sure what the biggest thing to come out of AEW Dynamite was. I watched the entire thing live. I found this thing last night on my cable where I can set up 3 channels, and those are the only 3 channels that I have to flip between, and it made it so much easier. It's like, I know this technology exists.
You have this. You have the same cable company I have. Starts with an S.
Yes.
Okay.
Ends with a Trum.
Something
but
like that.
I set it up last night because I was watching the basketball game,
Right.
which listeners, Jason and I just went outside, smoked a cigarette, and talked about basketball for the full 15 minutes, so we don't have to subject you guys to it.
We do talk about other things that's not wrestling.
We do. I was flipping between it the whole time. Nothing really big happened.
I'm not going to say that.
It wasn't a bad show. Miro made his AEW debut.
In-ring debut.
It was kind of a sloppy match with him and Sabian versus Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. And let me just say this about Sonny Kiss. I know that's a dude. That dude's got a fucking great ass. Then you have Eddie Kingston. You have Eddie Kingston come out. He really does. Eddie Kingston comes out and cuts a good promo on Moxley because they're going to have a match later. Adam Page takes on Evil Uno. Dark Order just kind of makes me check out. Young Bucks, one of the Jackson brothers. I still can't tell them apart. I know I figured it out one time.
Nick had the interview with Tony
Schiavone. And he smashed his phone. Orange Cassidy versus Brody Lee. Matt Hardy and Private Party. Again, had the promo segment with Inner Circle. What Moxley versus Kingston at the end. What am I missing, Jason? Tell me what I'm missing that made it a good show. Listen, if it's between NXT and AEW, there's no doubt anymore. I go straight to AEW. I just do.
I agree.
But why was it a good show?
The fact that I think we kind of buried the lead on this one is that Lance Archer comes up with, well, I won't say he has COVID, but he was subject to someone that had COVID, and you had to change the card a little bit. So as far as I'm concerned, this is like every week with Raw. Okay, so Raw looks so disjointed because Vince apparently comes in and he makes these changes or whatever the case may be, and Raw looks like this hot little shit show like it looked on Monday night. Monday night was a hot little shit show. Okay? The Hurt Business, never mind, I won't even go down that road.
Let's not even do it.
Okay, the difference between that and AEW is now here's AEW presented with a problem, legit problem. Lance Archer can't be on the show. So how did they do this? They kept the Eddie Kingston angle around for this moment. Break of emergency, break glass. Okay? Mm-hmm. Boom. Okay, so we bring Eddie Kingston out. He cuts an amazing fucking promo.
Yeah.
Basically just calling John Moxley, that bitch.
A sports entertainer.
Okay? And then you kind of fast forward to the match. The match was a good match. So you kind of at least bridge the gap logically, which we always have a problem with the WWE, is how you get from point A to point B. I don't really give a shit how you do it, but you have the creative ability to do it. Mm-hmm. This made fucking sense. Anytime WWE does it, it's kind of like, what? Huh? If Retribution, and I got to go here for 30 seconds just to make my point. If Retribution is trying to take down the WWE, why are you going to sign the contracts? That shit doesn't even make fucking sense. Okay? This made fucking sense to the point where that was my walking away point. The biggest takeaway for me is how they turned lemons into lemonade. Chicken shit into, tuna fish, whatever you want to call it. You get my point.
I don't think you can actually do that, though. You can actually turn lemons into lemonade. I don't think that you can actually take chicken shit and turn it into tuna fish.
True story. Okay, but
sorry.
But you get my point.
Terrible analogy,
But
Jason.
you get my point.
Unbelievable.
Okay, well, the point is they did better in crisis mode than WWE has done at any given, well, I shouldn't say at any given point, just if you want to go recent history, we can go that route. The way they did this was just smart, and it made sense. Then you got the match, which was the payoff for it. Obviously, Moxley was going to win, and now you keep Lance Archer in that whole pattern, get him back to being healthy, and then you can re-equip the story. And then on top of it, you had Team Taz come out, which was kind of a surprise because obviously they were linked to
they've made a partial alliance
with Lance Archer and Jake the Snake or whatever.
Yeah.
So now Eddie Kingston's family comes out, starts to attack, and then all of a sudden and then once again Team Taz comes out, so then it makes sense again.
I don't disagree with anything that you just said. I will say this, though. I'm sick of AEW Dynamites ending with total schmazes. It feels really WCW. It feels like the worst thing about WWE. I don't like when they go off the air
in chaos
with guys just fake punching guys in the middle of the ring and fake punching guys on the side of the ring. And that's how it ended up. And I hate that. It's one of my least let's go off a little sidebar here because I don't want to talk about Retribution too much. But this is a thing that, and I'm not saying that AEW is doing this, but this goes into what I was saying, is that WWE tries this thing every few years or so. Have I talked about this before on the podcast?
Maybe? Question mark?
You get fucked up. Have I?
No. Go ahead. Just
where
theory.
They do this thing where there's some faction that's trying to take over Raw, and then all the Raw guys band together at the end, and they have to take out, which is how Raw ended this week, where the Raw wrestlers came down when the Hurt Business, who's a heel faction,
she stole my thunder,
is fighting Retribution, who's a heel faction. And their names are Mace, T-Bar, and Slapjack, which is the dumbest motherfucking shit in the fucking world.
Okay, wait. Stop the tape. We're getting ready to do this, so let me finish up AEW real quick, and then we can go to predictions and shitting on Raw if you want to.
I want to shit on Retribution before we go to predictions.
Okay,
but okay, we'll finish
Orange
it.
Cassidy was basically on the, I won't say the fast track, but he's on the way to the main event. Hanging with Brody Lee, I think, is a huge deal. Cody coming back, it is what it is. No big deal. We kind of saw that coming.
But Orange Cassidy losing to Brody Lee.
He was going to lose.
But then why'd he go over Jericho?
This is long-term storytelling, damn it. If you let Brody Lee lose before Cody comes back, that doesn't even make any sense.
Then you don't put Orange Cassidy in the match, or you don't have him go over Jericho.
This loss doesn't hurt Orange Cassidy.
I've said before,
the least.
On this podcast, I've said before that Orange Cassidy is Teflon. But if you're going to start building him up to make him a upper mid-carder,
right,
then you can't stunt his... You can't stunt his growth like that, his push like that.
I don't think you stunted his growth at all. I think you proved the point that no matter who the opponent is, whether it's big or small, Orange Cassidy will be in this match. Brody Lee destroyed Cody Rhodes, destroyed him.
Yeah.
And Orange Cassidy hung with this dude for the better part of 10 to 15 minutes.
I would have put somebody else against Brody Lee.
Okay, but that's fine. But I mean, it doesn't really have it wasn't really about Orange Cassidy. It was more about Cody coming back. Can we agree upon that?
Yeah, Cody came back.
We wanted to have a match that would put eyes on that, and this is the match that did it. I'm not mad about that. It just kind of is what it is. I think like I said, to me, the takeaway from that match was Orange Cassidy is on the way to the main event scene. And these are the reasons why. We paired him up against Jericho. He won that contest. We put him against Brody Lee. Brody Lee just destroyed one of the faces of the company. And now you have Orange Cassidy hanging for past the commercial break. This was like a 10 or 15-minute match. Mm-hmm. And it ended up, where Brody Lee was on the ropes. He kind of, reversed it, hits the clothesline, and that ends the match. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like... And there was all kinds of fuckery around.
Sure.
There was best friends who was in the building. I was waiting for them to come out, and they never came out. So more so of a reason why Orange Cassidy was basically set to end this part to where you need to start paying attention, whether you like him or not. Orange Cassidy is set to make a major league run in AEW sometime in the near future. We're doing Kenny and... Hangman Page first, okay? Kenny said something that was really, really interesting. He said he was going to come back when
he's heating up.
The time was best to suit him and his booking. So all that says to me is that Adam Page is going to just keep beating people. He'll beat somebody at full gear, and he'll get up to like the number 2 or 3, maybe even number 1. Kenny Omega will come out. That's when the Kenny Omega heel turn will happen. That's when the Young Bucks will turn. That will be the next new faction. And then you'll have your Kenny Omega, Adam Page feud going on. There's stuff that was happening. You just got to look past the surface of the shit. The only thing that was probably bad.
Fucking tell me to look past the surface. You think that I'm looking past the surface? I fucking do a fucking wrestling podcast with you every week. You think I'm looking past the surface?
The only thing that was bad was the Miro match.
You think I'm some mark?
Well, we're all marks. You weren't.
No, but you're acting like I'm some fucking mark.
Okay,
yeah,
so
the Miro match was fucking shit.
So if I showed you I have a Kevin Owens shirt on, would you start marking the fuck out right now?
No, I'm not going to start marking the fuck out.
Okay, then I'm not going to show you my shirt.
I'll be like, all right, man, why don't you stretch that shit out a little bit? Wash it and give it to me. What you think about FTR and the Best Friends segment?
Once again,
it wasn't the best.
No, but it was long storytelling where you have next week you're going to have SCU face FTR. Obviously, FTR is going to win, but Best Friends is sitting there basically in the on deck circle.
But can I sit here and I've said this to you and Zach before, and he's not here to defend himself, so fuck him. I've said this to you guys before.
He's celebrating his daughter's birthday, dude. I mean, it'd be different if like he was sitting in jail or something.
Fuck Two Beer Zach, unequivocally.
That's that hot cheddar heat.
Not his daughter Kazuchika,
right?
Who I know and like a whole lot. She's very fun. But I can't sit here and just criticize AEW without you and Zach hopping all over it and being like, well, it's long-term storytelling. Or, well, XX and X, XY and X. It's like, why can't I just sit here and criticize it the way that we sit here and criticize WWE? Because you guys are fucking marks.
Because the reason why you can't do it, the reason why you can't do it is because WWE doesn't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. When you think, okay, this is going to happen. Okay, case in point, Otis. You just last week basically took a nice little dump on Otis for them having him be the Money in the Bank
still
winner.
Terrible.
Okay.
AEW would never make a decision that bad. That's like having
Yano. Okay, but
that's like
we don't know
Yano win the New Japan Cup.
But we don't know this. That's why AEW will get a pass until they start getting into a pattern of dumb mistake, or at least what we consider a dumb mistake. The only reason I said that Otis would make sense is at the time the crowd was in the building. So if and when you decided you wanted to shock the world and maybe put the title on Otis, it would be a huge fucking moment. That obviously hasn't happened, so now it looks stupid because Roman Reigns is the champion. You're definitely not going to have Otis lose to Roman Reigns or Miz or John Morrison or whoever the fucking Money in the Bank winner is. So that's why in this scenario, AEW gets a pass because even in a scenario where maybe they did something wrong, I wasn't even sure that Eddie Kingston didn't go over the top. But I had to go back and look at it. He didn't go over the top. They kept this in mind, and then they did it the right way, where now it makes sense.
No doubt. I'm not here shitting on AEW. I'm here criticizing them.
Okay,
I'm getting ready to shit on WWE. Before we get there, what do you think about the Hardy Private Party alliance? And then what did you think about Cassidy? They need to change his name because there's already an Orange Cassidy.
Right.
Cassidy, well, I'll just tell you what I think. I like the Hardy Private Party Alliance. That's totally cool with me.
Makes sense.
To have Hardy try to mentor the two young guys. And I know that those guys are really young. And you got to get the reps before you can be good on the mic. It was not the best promo segment. Jericho was great.
Always. I mean, he is who he is. I mean,
but Jericho's there to put guys over, so I was ultimately cool with the segment.
It just, I don't know. I feel like it's a reason to keep Matt there and a reason to keep Private Party relevant. I don't think you really need it. I think Private Party is one of those teams that just needs to have the in-ring action, do their talking. They're a work rate team. There's nothing wrong with that.
They're also really young.
Yeah, and that's why, Matt Hardy is probably a good guy to keep.
Why don't they introduce a 3-man tag belt and have it be Private Party with Matt Hardy and call him, hey, wait for this.
Thank you.
Party Hardy.
Dude, that is so funny you said that. Somebody on Twitter called them private or Party Hardy, who then said it to them. So, I mean, it's all kind of weird that you said that, number one. Number two, Trios title, I think it's got to be, if we're going to do another title, this makes logical sense. There's a boatload of fucking factions around, so that would make the next title actually kind of mean something. And number three, we said it last week, I'm going to say it this week, and I'm going to keep saying it because AEW Late Night Dynamite came on Tuesday night, and that did over 500,000 viewers, give or take. It was like 567, some weird number like that.
I did not watch it. When I saw it on my DVR, I didn't know what the fuck it was.
Okay, so obviously I watched it. 3 matches with Sean Spears and Matt Sydal is the main event. All good matches, all kind of make storyline sense. But when you do 500,000 viewers, it was around 11 o'clock, 11:30 Central Standard, so it's midnight on the East, and you did 500,000. This is the moment where I think it's probably fertile that you can have a second show, whether it's Tuesday nights going against Impact or Thursdays where you have Thursday Night Football. And I'm sorry, Jacksonville versus Miami doesn't necessarily sound like something I would want to rush to watch to if you gave me
but we're going to go upstairs and watch the entire fucking thing and smoke a bowl.
A second show of AEW Dynamite. But that's what I'm saying. I think it's time. It's right now, the roster is big enough to where you can do it. The viewership is clearly there. I think it's time that you can do it. You don't even have to eliminate Dark. Dark can stay on Tuesday nights. You can go on Thursday nights and do back-to-back Wednesday, Thursday, 1-2 gut punch. Start, gut punch in WWE. WWE ain't going to have two, at least NXT is going to have the problem. They can move to Tuesdays if they wanted to in response to that, or they can keep getting worked over in the ratings on Wednesday night. I think they got worked over again by 200,000 viewers. It's getting to the point where they just need to start realizing that maybe Tuesday night is the way to go. Retreat ain't always a bad thing. It's a good thing sometimes. You ain't got to lose the war. You ain't got to win this battle to ultimately win the whole war. Wednesday night is lost. At this point, just go to Tuesdays, be done with it, sacrifice NXT, get the shit together, and dominate Tuesday nights.
Okay, I think that is going to do it for the longest 3 count.
We did 50 minutes on the G1. I don't want to hear that shit.
BFR history.
No.
1, 2, 3.
This is Banned from Ringside.
All right, real quick before we get to the fucking predictions, I just had to talk about...
No, because I want to talk about it too, because the whole thing makes no sense.
I want to talk about how bad this Retribution thing is.
Go ahead.
This Retribution thing, they've tried this thing before with Nexus, the Outsiders. Well, the Outsiders is the one that worked. The Core.
Well, I shouldn't say they're not the Outsiders. The NWO by the time they came back. But
the
same
Invasion
concept.
angle,
right.
Nexus, the Core, which was Wade Barrett and Ezekiel Jackson, and I think Heath Slater.
Yeah.
Maybe. And there was one other guy, I think.
Now, if you can call that fourth guy without actually Googling it, you a bad motherfucker, but go ahead. I'm not saying you.
Man,
I'm not saying you.
That makes me want to try to do it, though. But they've done this before, and they've done it with talented people, like really talented people. Dijakovic, friend of me of the show. I don't even know which one he is. I don't know if he's Mace, T-Bar, or Slapjack. But Mace, T-Bar, and Slapjack.
I think he's T-Bar.
There used to be this thing that I did in college where I'd be on the. This is back when you used to have answering machines. Right. I lived with our buddy Tom MacArthur, and we'd always be like on the answer machine. We'd be like, "Hey, you've reached the residence of Bill, Tom," and then we'd be like, "Mace, T-Bar, Slapjack, 102, 104, 103," and we just name all these stupid nicknames. We'd be like, "Please leave a message." That's what this shit sounds like. That sounds so stupid. Mace, T-Bar, and Slapjack.
Yeah, it's bad.
Now, who are the guys in Retribution? I know it's Dijak, and I know that Mercedes Martinez is the woman.
Mia Yim is another.
Is it possible that Keith Lee is the leader, considering his relationship with Dijakovic and that he's in a real-life relationship with Mia Yim.
Dude, if they went that route, I would jump through a window. That would be so WWE. It would make sense in their minds because, they have this relationship. Let's capitalize on it. Fuck the whole Seth and Becky thing. That worked out so well. So, I mean, in that sense, in your weird logic, it would make sense. But, I mean, come on, man. This is not good.
It's like you said, though. What the fuck is the point of them giving these assholes contracts? If they've been fucking up your show for the last month or so.
Give or take. Causing havoc outside.
And I think
the
last week
area.
is the first time we've even talked about Retribution on the show because
no, we talked about it before. I mean, it's
we've been ignoring stupid shit. We haven't talked about Otis on here. We haven't really talked about the Mysterio Rollins thing, which I'm not going to talk about this week either because I hated it.
Yeah,
I fucking didn't like bringing the daughter into it.
Started to get a little creepy.
And they brought back in when Seth
paternity test.
When Seth Rollins goes, Aaliyah is 19. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right.
I was at
You're
Tinder's,
35.
Yeah, I was at Tinder's apartment. We were watching that. I'm like, please don't go paternity test. Don't do that. And of course, it started with Dominic. I'm like, oh, Jesus
I think
Christ,
they were trying.
We already did this.
I think they were trying to pay homage to it, which is fine. It just doesn't work. The other thing that didn't fucking work this week. Do you have something else to say about Retribution except for how terrible it is?
Well, I guess. Like, just kind of a sidebar on it, Dio is the black guy with the dreads or whatever. He was the guy that was doing commentary with King and fill in the blank, play-by-play guy at the time where Brock Lesnar comes out and was trying to beat down the King. The black guy takes the bullet. This is the same guy that took that bullet, and King can't recognize a 6'4" or 5 black guy with dreads. Come on, man.
When you say King, you mean Lawler?
Yeah. There was a segment where King, this guy I think he's Mace, and
you sure he's not T-Bar?
I don't know.
He could be Slapjack.
No, I think Slapjack's Shane Thorne. Whoever the Slapjack, I think is Shane Thorne.
We're going to talk about him later on in the show.
Okay. I think he's him, but that doesn't matter. It's the same guy, okay? It's the same guy that basically Brock Lesnar wanted to beat down the King, and this guy, I'm calling him Mace for this point because I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, but it doesn't matter.
M-A-S-E?
God, I hate WWE sometimes, man. You just fucking can't just.
No, I'm talking about Mace from.
Yeah, Bad Boy Entertainment.
Who's hot? Who's not?
See, you get me on track. You can't remember who this guy is? He took a bullet for you. Brock Lesnar was about to send you into the next year, probably bury you, and now all of a sudden you got fucking selective amnesia. This whole angle is fucking dumb.
It could be the worst.
And guess what? This motherfucker's going to run all the way through the Survivor Series. You can see it happening, whether it's a mixed tag or, God forbid, they get more members and they're going to do a women's tag. Why is the Hurt Business even fucking with this shit? You're a heel stable.
Yeah, I know.
Let these jokers run amok. You got a whole fucking locker room that decided, now this is the good time to come out and kick somebody's ass.
I don't know why there's any heel in the history of WWE. I always say this. Wrestling should be about individuals trying to win championships or tag teams trying to win championships. When you get into this whole pride thing about Raw or SmackDown, do you think that John Bones Jones would give a fuck if he was on one show or the other? Like, I'm just talking. Like,
fuck you, pay me.
Just make kayfabe.
No, I agree. The Hurt Business is such a good faction, but the problem with this is that they literally were heel and face within a 3-hour stretch, and that is absolutely unacceptable.
I have a surprise for you.
Oh shit!
That was only the second worst booking decision on Raw this week.
I won't wait. Go ahead. What do you think was the worst?
They introduced Babatunde, who's a guy named Dabo Kato, or Dabo Kato.
What did Jason call him?
Jason.
No, the other Jason.
Man, Jason.
Jinder Mahal's Jason.
Hey, everybody, Jason's losing his mind. He's calling himself the other
what did he
Jason.
Say? Baba Kato? Baba Dodo? Something like that, dude. Was so
they made a
funny.
big deal out of him showing up at Raw Underground. And, by the way, Raw Underground.
You're a nerd.
I've given it a chance. It's not even good anymore.
Well, it's a good thing that they're giving opportunities to young up-and-comers like Dolph Ziggler. And then they have Braun Strowman goes over him in his first... Nobody ever heard of him until a couple weeks ago. And then in his very first match on Raw, he loses?
You can't...
By knockout?
You can't have Braun Strowman lose. I'm sorry. You just can't.
You can't have Braun Strowman lose.
I get where you're going with it.
You can.
No, you can't. I get where you're going with it. It goes against the core belief of building new stars. Unfortunately, Braun Strowman, whether we like it or not, he has a smidgen of a pedigree. And if he lost that match, you couldn't bring him out on SmackDown anymore.
That is really surprising to hear from you.
I'm not saying I agree with it. Arguably, it could be worse than the Hurt Business flipping heel and face within 3 hours. I'll let those who are smarter than me.
I want to put out there, though, I like the Hurt Business.
I like them, too.
I like MVP. Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, damn right.
I like MVP. I like MVP as a stable leader, and I like the stable that they've put together.
And they're not dressed all in like T-shirts and the usual stable gear. They are dressed in suits. They look good. All black or not.
They're not the Nation of Domination.
They're not the Nation of Domination. I think that's by design. Perfect. Okay.
Good.
So why not just keep that ball rolling? You got Cedric Alexander. You just flipped this motherfucker heel 2 weeks ago, and then he's fighting face this. Ugh.
Watch this. Watch me book the territory.
Okay.
You just had so Cedric Alexander just joins Hurt Business.
Right.
Which I've said before, it's a good name. Hurt Business is a good name.
It was better. It's grown on me. I didn't like it at first, but it's grown on me.
So if Retribution comes out and starts beating up all these baby faces, then you have Hurt Business come out acting like they're going to make the save, and then back the fuck up, and then all of a sudden they're huge heels, right?
Right. Because, who's this Retribution shouldn't be coming down
I'll tell you what, Vince and Michael P.S. Hayes are too much in their own head to get anything right. That being said...
Let's get to the predictions.
Let's get to those predictions. Hey, everybody.
That's that Southside Connection. Tag team and South Seas in the house.
You know what's fun is that we just did a whole bunch of bitching about WWE. Now we're going to spend the next 15 to 20 minutes
talking predictions about WWE.
Doing our predictions about WWE. This week is the Clash of Champions, which is a bullshit pay-per-view.
No, I wish they would have. This is one of those pay-per-views that they don't really need. They can give it to AEW and let them do that. They can come up with whatever bullshit name for pay-per-view that they want. This is just Vince being Tom Petty and just not wanting to give up the name rights to AEW and Cody.
The reason that I like this pay-per-view, though, is that all the titles are defended. So every match means something, even if the outcome is obvious.
So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you obviously have the big four. Next tier down, is this like your favorite quote unquote throwaway pay-per-view?
I mean, first of all, I'd replace Survivor Series with Money in the Bank as one of the big four.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can, because Survivor Series is stupid. Now, it doesn't mean anything. It's not even the same thing. There has to be stakes, or else it doesn't matter. So no, and then there is no second tier of WWE pay-per-views. There is just the rest of the WWE pay-per-views. It's like they all fucking suck.
Okay.
I like to watch them, though.
Okay, so quick sidebar and we can jump into predictions. So just for the sake of argument, you just said that there's no big four, but you would replace Survivor Series with Money in the Bank as one of the big
I would
four.
call it a big five.
Okay, all right, then that's fair.
I've said that to you probably 30 times in our lives.
I'm not saying that you haven't said it before. I'm just saying that this is...
But why don't you remember?
Because I said big four, okay? To me, it is the big four, and we all know who they are. I was going to say...
creeping in.
Shut up, motherfucker. Number 5, to me, is now Money in the Bank. Clash of Champions can be 6 because all titles are defended, and then from that point, you can start rolling it out from that point on.
I mean,
can
I'd
give
say
a shit.
they're all tied for last after those.
No, I will say this though. Money in the Bank is one of my favorites, and this year Money in the Bank was absolutely brutal. That's how Otis gets the title. That's how.
Well, and
Asuka
the year before was the one that Brock won.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose of. To me, Money in the Bank is giving it to a person that is probably going to have a hard time getting to the title scene. Brock is never going to have a hard time getting to the title scene. If they're not going to do Rock versus Roman, they'll do Brock versus Roman. So either way, Brock can come back tomorrow and still be on top.
All right, you ready to go?
Yeah, what's this?
All right, we'll start kind of easy here. We'll start with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura versus. I mean, this match seriously has 5 of the best workers in the company. It's got Lince Dorado, Kalisto, Gran Metalik, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura in a throwaway match for the SmackDown Tag Titles. Who do you got? Shinsuke, Nakamura, Cesaro versus Lucha House Party is what they're called.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Any one of these 5 motherfuckers could be in the G1 and could have a great showing.
Well, obviously, Nakamura has. I would love to see Cesaro in the G1.
I'd love to see Gran Metalik in it.
How he's never become the Cruiserweight champion is beyond even me.
He's an insane worker.
Yeah, and it would make... Never mind. Give me Cesaro and Nakamura. I'm sorry. As much as I'm not a huge fan of them being together, I would love to see Cesaro get a one singles run in WWE.
You know what I was thinking about?
Come out.
I was thinking about, now that Sheamus is back, it'd be fun to see Cesaro turn on Nakamura, get back with Sheamus to reform the Bar, and then have Nakamura turn face again. That's just something that I was thinking about the other day. Just a little, booking the territory that I had going.
I mean, about to say it's different than what you
Nia
got right
Jax
now.
and Shayna Baszler versus the Riot Squad for the just for the women's tag team belts. I'm going to take Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Who do you got? I could see them going the other way, though.
Dude,
actually.
and what they should have did is, if you really wanted to have Ruby and Liv kind of go over, you have them take the titles off of Sasha and Bayley. Okay, Sasha and Bayley are going to be Sasha and Bayley. Let them do them. What you should have did, if you were trying to ultimately get them over, is to have them take the titles off of the champions. You know what I'm saying? At least that set of champions. This set of champions is that mismatched champions. I know Sasha and Bayley or quote-unquote mismatched champions, they're really not. That doesn't matter. God, this match just sucks,
Sounds
dude.
like you're trying to talk yourself into it.
Not really. I'm trying to talk myself into liking this match. I mean...
Well, don't do that. It's going to suck.
The problem with this match is that you had these handicap matches that... Well, I shouldn't say handicap matches, but you did the one-on-ones where the Riot Squad won. But, I mean... Shayna Baszler took out both of these jokers in an elimination chamber, so now you're going to put Nia Jax with them, and I'm supposed to think that the Riot Squad has a chance? You know where we're going with this. I'm piggybacking yours. Roman Reigns just won the U.S. title, by the way, on Clash of Champions. If you know what year that is, slide into the BFR Pod DMs. We can get you a gift certificate to F&B Eatery, ProWrestlingTees.com.
Oh, my God. You are higher than shit.
No, look. I mean, damn.
It was that shot of whiskey, wasn't it?
It was that shot of whiskey. If anybody can remember this without actually going through the Google archives.
I don't even remember Roman Reigns and Rusev having a feud.
Much less, I remember Roman Reigns winning the U.S. title.
And this is...
Now, if you can come up with the year without Googling it, you a bad motherfucker. You watch a lot of wrestling.
All right, man. Well, there's lots of people out there that watch more wrestling than you.
Yeah, no shit.
We have Bayley versus Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'll let you go first.
It's Bayley, obviously. I would assume the only reason that Nikki Cross would win is Sasha interfered in the match. directly or indirectly, whatever the case may be. Obviously, at this point, it's Sasha versus Bayley. Nikki Cross is a stepping stone from point A to point B. 2-time stepping stone at this point, which is another story for another time. Bayley should retain.
I'm going with Nikki Cross here. The promo that Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross cut the other night made me think that there was a little bit more something going on here. I wouldn't be surprised if Bayley came in or if Sasha Banks came in and threw this for Bayley. The look that you just gave me when I said I'm picking Nikki Cross was so fucking offensive.
It wasn't meant to be offensive.
Oh, it was offensive, bro.
It wasn't meant to be. It was not meant to be offensive, okay?
Whatever. Asuka versus Zelina Vega. I'm taking Asuka.
Yeah, double that down. Okay, see.
What? I mean, they already said it's going to be on the pre-show, so, I mean, obviously it's going to be easy.
It's going to be on the pre-show? Then why have the fucking match? Or better yet, I mean, good Lord.
They want everybody to get a paycheck.
That's what one of the big four, the big five is. I mean, come on, man. Seriously, that's that bullshit. Where the fuck is Bianca Belair at? Where the fuck is Shayna Baszler singles-wise at this point?
Bianca Belair had a really great vignette Monday night. A really great one. Where she was outlifting the dude. Yeah.
Come on, man. See, that's that bullshit. See, that's the shit that'll piss me off and that make me want to watch.
I got a couple more bullshit ones. Actually, they're all kind of bullshit.
No.
All right. I'm going to save the one that I think is the hardest for the last, okay?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
All right. So we have Street Profits versus Andrade Cien Almas. I know that's not what he's called anymore. And Angel Garza. I mean, I'm going to go Street Profits. They've dominated this entire feud the entire time. I don't know why they put Andrade and Angel Garza against them.
Against them again, and back together again. It just...
I'm guessing you're going Street Profits because they're black.
Yeah, because, well, obviously, number one. But number two, I mean, the shit doesn't even make sense. This is why I have a problem with, and we already talked about with NXT, but here's the basis of the problem. Street Profits are the longest reigning Raw Tag Team Champions. Okay, outside of the two teams that we know of...
What do you mean, since when?
Apparently they're over 200 days as Raw Tag Team Champions.
No fucking way. Really? That goes back to WrestleMania.
Look, whatever bullshit they've been tooting, whether it's vignette, commentary, or otherwise, Street Profits are the longest running Raw Tag Team Champions. It's 200 days. I'm sure I might be messing it up, but this is the story that they're telling. Okay, so be it. But I mean, damn, half of that was against the Viking Raiders.
Yeah, I know.
The other half is against these two jokers.
Well, the fucked up thing is that if you take Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, and you take Andrade Cien Almas and Angel Garza, and you take the Viking Raiders, War Machine, you're talking about 6 incredible workers.
You could at least build the division off that, and they've chosen, for whatever reason, not to do it.
They've chosen, well, it's infuriating. I'm going to get mad all over again. Let's go to Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. I know who you're taking.
I want to talk about
Uso. Okay,
yeah,
let's talk about
I want to talk about this for 30 seconds.
All right.
Obviously, you got to take Roman Reigns here, but new Roman Reigns is supposedly coming out. No shirt. There might be music change, and that's always a good sign for a heel. And that was something we said back in the Shock City days, where when you did a heel turn, you can't have the same music. You can't look the same. You're not the same person. Roman Reigns has basically been associated with the Shield for a long, long time, for better, for worse. It's time that we started to get him as a new person. as a heel Roman Reigns. If this is the case, it's a very good start. Now the question for me is, are we going to do a heel bloodline with Roman as the top, or to me it's going one of two ways. Jay's obviously in the match. Jimmy comes in to interfere, and that's how you get the bloodline heel stable going. Or Roman absolutely destroys. I mean, destroys Jey Uso.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point of Jey Uso being the number one contender, is that Jey Uso is going to... He's kind of gone into it being like, hey, Roman, we're boys, we're family, all that shit. And then Roman...
is over there like plotting, I'm ready to fuck you up.
To solidify Roman as an
absolute heel,
despicable heel.
He destroys his own family.
He destroys his cousin.
Godfather 2, probably, arguably, one of the greatest sequels of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the greatest movies of all time. I think.
Okay, we can go that route.
If I had it at number 6, I mean, it's not as good.
What did you say, number 6?
AFI had it at number 6 of all time movies.
You said AFI had number 6.
Yeah, American Film Institute.
No, I thought you said I had it at number 6, but neither here nor there. You get my point. This is a scenario where you can really...
I also don't think it's as good of a sequel as Back to the Future 2, because in Back to the Future 2, you actually see Back to the Future 1 happening in the background, but that's neither here nor there.
You like Back to the Future 2?
Yeah, Back to the Future 2 fucking rules. Of course I like Back to the Future 2. You don't like Back to the Future 2?
Not so much.
Time to grow up, man. I'm taking Roman Reigns. Also, 3 matches left. We have Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews for the U.S. title. I forget who actually has it. It's Lashley?
I don't know.
Cruz?
I don't know.
Lashley has it, right?
I don't know. Who has it?
You're fucking with me, man. Is it Lashley?
Lashley has it.
Okay, thank you.
But, okay, and that's my point. Okay, therein lies my point.
Well, this is not a booking problem. This
that's
is
a huge booking problem.
No, this is me not being able to tell black people apart.
Okay, fair enough. It was like 2 or 3 of me that looked like...
if you don't laugh, I sound like a racist.
I was going to. God damn. Give me a second. But that's kind of the point that we were going back to with the Hurt Business. They could easily be the lead heel stable on Raw.
Well, they are.
No, they're not.
But they just need to be thrown to the main event. Listen, I think that I've said this before on this podcast, how good I think Lashley is when he has the right opponent. Apollo Crews is the right opponent.
Really? You think so?
I love Apollo Crews. I've been talking about Apollo Crews since the Shock City days.
Okay, so...
I'm the Apollo Crews guy. He is insane how good he is.
Agreed. So I guess my question is, do you like him because he can bounce well for Bobby Lashley, or just you think this is actually a good match that we can watch 2-3 years down the line and still be all good?
Well, I mean, no, I don't think it's going to be a good match that we can watch 2 or 3 years down the line and still be good, because it's WWE. If WWE let these guys rip one off and they said, hey, Bobby Lashley, who, we were talking about the G1 earlier.
Could Bobby Lashley run the G1?
Oh, he's so conditioned. Yes. Yeah, Bobby Lashley doesn't get tired.
I agree with that.
Here's what I was saying. I meant to say this earlier when Zach was on, but I was thinking about Jeff Cobb and how maybe not having those 6-man tag team matches and 8-man and 10-team tag matches might be better for Jeff Cobb. And Jeff Cobb probably learned something in the G1 last year, because your conditioning counts in the G1. I mean, you have to be in really good shape.
It's rare when you get to the level of a Jeff Cobb or Moxley. Well, I shouldn't say Moxley's. Dean Ambrose at the time, it should be one of the few that should be used to it. Do you like it? No. So I can kind of get that
Moxley
aspect
was
of
conditioned.
It. Yeah, without question, because, I mean, he was WWE. You do 300 shows in 365 days.
Sure.
So you're used to it, but what you said earlier, when Moxley was like, oh, man, I would love to do it this year, that makes sense because, God forbid, The world has changed, so you spaced it out. They're not doing, like 2 years ago, they would have done 3 shows this week. Easily.
I'm saying
easily.
What I'm saying is that Lashley and Apollo Crews are both in insane shape, and if those motherfuckers decided to have a 25-minute match, both of them could do it.
For
And
one, for one shot, yes. Apollo Crews couldn't do a G1. He could do a one-shot 25-minute match.
No.
No.
Apollo Crews would be better off than Lashley. Apollo Crews is like 30 years old. Lashley's 44. Come on. Just say okay.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I
We
wanted.
can agree to disagree.
Oh, wait.
I'm picking Lashley, too. It just makes sense. It just ultimately
I didn't pick Lashley.
Well, I'm picking Lashley. I'll go with that.
All right. You can pick Lashley.
And this is the reason why. Because, goddamn, if you're going to have an ultimately, and this is a long story, storytelling, WWE style, the Hurt Business and Retribution are basically going to be on that same path. Whether we like it or not, whether it makes sense or not, they're going to be on that same path. This is going to be your not SummerSlam, but your Survivor Series possible main event. It's going to ruin our birthday month a little bit. Sorry, not sorry, but sorry, very sorry.
Nothing can ruin my birthday month.
Our birthday month.
As long as it's the same as your birthday month.
Okay, good.
Nothing can ruin it.
Okay.
So there's only 2 left. I'm going to save the hardest one for last. So we got McIntyre versus Randy Orton. I'll go first. I think this is an easy one.
Really?
I'm going Drew McIntyre.
You think it's that easy? You think it's that easy?
Yeah, brother. I think it's that easy. Look at these 2 Look at these 2 thoroughbreds in 2016 at Clash of Champions. KO and Seth Rollins.
Universal type.
This is right after Triple H handed it to Owens.
Wow.
Oh yeah, this is good stuff. All right, come on.
Sorry.
It's an audio medium.
I'm starting ready to get distracted. I don't think it's that easy. I really don't.
So take Orton then.
I'm going to. I had every intention on doing so, and I'm taking it now.
Wow.
But no, it's not a knock against Drew McIntyre. This is not saying that Drew McIntyre hasn't been a good champion. We've talked about this before. I'm marked for his run. I wish there was fans for this run. The only reason I'm saying that this can happen for Drew McIntyre, amongst others, the only reason I'm saying this can work is because he's not taking a pin. This is a way to get the title off of him if you wanted to do it. And I think this kind of makes sense. It feels like a good time. You got Keith Lee in the on deck circle.
So you're taking Orton.
This is why I think Keith Lee's been hovering around. This is why it makes sense. We can run it back, whatever the next bullshit pay-per-view for WWE is.
I think it's Payback or Backlash or something.
We can run it back. Then Drew McIntyre can get pinned. And then you can move on to Keith Lee. So on and so forth. Edge is the end game. Ultimately, Randy Orton's going to win the title. It's just when and where you're going to do it. I'm calling it right now. Orton wins the title.
I just think there's no way you take it away from McIntyre before he's had a chance to prove it in front of the crowd.
Okay.
That might be very naive of me.
No, all bullshit aside, and I'm not trying to be funny. Let's be real for 30 seconds.
Stop being funny.
How long is
Be real for 30 seconds.
How long is this going to be? Are you going to wait another 6 months? 3 months? A year? That's
till the end of time.
Exactly. I would want to see Drew McIntyre get the love for this run. The whole build for WrestleMania for him was to get that pop. Maybe not a Kofi Kingston pop, but to get that pop. We were building up to that. It might not happen, so we got to keep things on track. It's not a knock against Drew McIntyre. I love his run. He's had some of the best matches on WWE pay-per-views, if there was one that was better, there was probably only one. If there was people in the stands, we would talk about this thing so different. If there was people in the stands, it would make sense at this point for Orton to take it over at this point, because the storyline is what it should be. They battle back and forth. Drew won the match that he shouldn't have won. That was because Orton's the greatest wrestler of all time, because he beat Edge in the greatest wrestling match of all time. If people were in the stands, it would make sense.
He's heating up.
I'm not heating up. I'm just trying to connect the dots, baby. It would make sense. It's just, I wish people were in the stands, because everything would be different. But like I said, another story for the time. I'm taking Orton just because we can run it back. We got Keith Lee. Ultimately, we're going to Edge, but we got to give Edge time to heal up. I'm taking Randy Orton.
If you're still listening to this podcast at this point, I want you to hit us up on Facebook, Band from Ringside, or Friends of BFR, or at BFR on Twitter, at BFR on Instagram, at BFR Bill, at BFR JCB, at BFR Zach with an H, at BFR Murray, or at BFR Lucha Chris. And all I want you to do is say hashtag Okra. And if you do that, we will send you.
What do you want to send him? No, that's you. That's you. You the quarterback.
We'll send you the coupon for Papa John's for 25% off Papa John's.
Good call.
And we can also send you, if you're in the St. Louis area, we'll send you a $15 gift certificate to F&B Eatery, which will get you a free meal at F&B Eatery. If you're still listening, because this has been a long one. And guys, we're here at the end.
Yeah, right.
Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn for the championship, for the Intercontinental Championship. You have to go from least
to most.
I'm going to let you go first. What do you say?
AJ Styles 3. Doesn't need it. He's there because it kind of makes storyline sense.
Sure.
Fuck WWE. God damn. I'm going to do it. Jeff Hardy's 2, because once again, I mean, what more did Jeff Hardy need at this point? What accolade does Jeff Hardy deserve, want, need? I mean, he's done it fucking all. I mean, there's Grand Slam winners, and then there's the Jeff Hardy level where he's basically won every fucking title known to man in WWE. Sami Zayn is the uncrowned, well, I'm sorry, he's the undisputed, uncrowned. He's the one that should have been recognized. He didn't lose it, left, came back. He's MJF on a totally different level. Sami Zayn, number 1.
I'm going almost the exact same as Jason. I'm picking Jeff Hardy in the middle, but I'm taking AJ as the winner and Sami Zayn as the least likely to win. So,
no.
Those are our predictions.
No.
Those are our predictions.
Really? You gonna leave AJ Styles out there like that?
I got AJ Styles winning. What are you talking about leaving them out there like that?
Why? Why does that make sense?
It's WWE. What
Right.
are you arguing about?
Nope. That's all you have to say.
How can you talk to me like that?
That's all you have to say.
Unbelievable.
That's all you had to say.
Why would you talk to me like that?
I'm sorry, honey. I'll make sure I
Hey, we got some
Dinner
birthdays.
ready to go.
Stephanie McMahon is 44. Shane Thorne, I told you we'd get to him later. He's 35.
Okay.
Sonya Deville is 27. Asuka is 39. Buddy Murphy, also known as Murphy, is 32. Steve Blackman is 57. You know how much I love Steve Blackman. God damn, I fucking love Steve Blackman so much. That match, him and Shane at SummerSlam, when he hit Shane with the kendo stick and Shane had to drop off.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. Jason Jordan, you remember Jason Jordan?
See, yeah, he's Kurt Angle's son. How you not going to remember?
32. Tajiri is 50. Chris Von Erich. Which one is that?
Hang on.
Is he alive?
I'm trying to think. Lance. No, I'm trying to think. MLW. think so. Don't hold me on
This
that.
is Band
Yeah.
from Ringside.
Don't hold me to that.
He's 51.
There you go.
Candice LeRae is 35.
definitely alive.
Rabbit fever.
Hey, everybody.
Middle of the night.
We know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to ours.
Bring it on, Daddy.
For Murray the Man Murray,
Check.
for Lucha Chris,
Check.
for F&B Eatery,
Check.
for Reba the Dog, for
Check.
Xander the Cat,
Check.
for Millie the Cat.
Check.
For Two Beer Zach Pullman,
Check.
for his youngest daughters, Kachuka. Kazuchka. How do you say it?
Kazuchka?
Kazuchka.
Check.
For Jason Cornelius Bell, I'm Bill Vega. Everybody,
Each one,
support
bitches.
your local weed dealers.
Check.
Black Lives Matter. And
Check.
boo the heels.
Ooh, bitches.